Hello YouTube and fellow electronic repair enthusiasts. This is Roy's Repair and Resale. My name is Roy. I do repairs and resale. And today we're going to be working on a PS5 that is needing some love, to say the least. I purchased this off of eBay. Seller told me that the HDMI port was damaged, as well as two bad USB ports on the back. I will show you guys that damage as well. It's going to be an interesting solder job. I haven't done a USB port replacement before, so it's going to be fun to get my hands dirty with this one. I did test it already for power and everything like that. Everything turns on. I did have to borrow the LED ribbon cable, which I'm still waiting on the replacement and should be here at some point today. So when I go to test it later, you'll see that the LED does not come on. Not a huge deal. It's just the ribbon cable is not attached, but everything should still work just fine. So, this is going to be a fun project. I have also already found a roach inside of this console, which does not lead me to feel very good about the rest of this. But it is what it is. We're going to go ahead and get this thing working, get it ready for its new home. To everybody who comes in and checks out the video, thank you so much for your support. It means the world to me. Please remember to like and subscribe. Check out the channel, turn on notifications. It's going to be a great time. I'll be posting content pretty regularly from here on out. Just had to take a little break to deal with some life stuff, but we are back. We are going to be taking as many consoles apart as we can. It's going to be a great time, so thanks for coming to hang out, and let's check out this PS5, huh? Let it go. There we go. All right. Let's see here. All right. Bottom shell seems to be in pretty good shape. This one actually still has the hole where the screw for the stand goes in. That's interesting. All right. So next thing to come off is the APU cover right here. So we're going to go ahead and take that off. Slide over a little bit. You guys can get. Oh, that came up nice and easy. I love it. I love it when a board cooperates. All right, and oh yeah. Oh, we got serious pooling. This was obviously kept vertically, which is why it looks the way it does. We will fix that after the repair, but you can see here the liquid metal has all pooled right to the bottom over here, which means this was kept vertically, and you'll see the big dry spot here. Let me put this board down for a second. You'll see this big dry spot right here. That's going to have to be cleaned up before we can reapply liquid metal. And the same thing on the board here. You'll see that, again, there's a very large dry spot right there in the middle, and all the liquid metal is pulled over to this side right here. So that'll be something we'll have to clean up once we get to that point. But that is a problem for another time because we have bigger fish to fry. So let's go ahead and swap over and take a closer look at these USB ports and HDMI port. Alright. Let's go ahead and lift this up so I can get some height on the board. Alright, so yeah, you can see right there, that is god-awful. Look at that. Pins are all broken and torn out of place. And next one over, pretty much the same thing. Not nearly as bad, but you can definitely tell that this port has had a bad day. And then the HDMI port, that's just rough. This poor baby. I'm sure it had to have been dropped for this amount of damage. I don't see any damage to the Ethernet connector, which is good, but we're gonna have to do some swapping. So let's double check around the HDMI area just to make sure that we're not missing anything of super valuable importance. Let's see here. Alright, now it looks like everything's in place. We have our diode here, there's a resistor here, and I believe that's a fuse right there, and then a small cap right here. So all that's in place, that's good. And we're not missing any components. Let's turn on this glare a little bit. We're not missing any components on the HDMI system itself, which is fantastic. Let's go over here to the USB ports, and yeah, there's no components I need to worry about over here, which is great. Alright, awesome. So I think our first order of business is going to be to desolder the 3 ports that need to be handled. I think that's going to be the easiest way to go about this. So what we're going to do first is we're going to lay down some flux. I'm going to apply some leaded solder onto these legs. Alright, and once we got the ground legs, then we're going to take a little and just brush it along these pad legs right here. Doesn't matter if they're going to bridge, we're taking the pad off anyway. Not a huge deal. I just want to spread some of that leaded solder onto these legs to help them desolder easier by lowering the melting temperature. And that's what we will do. Trying to avoid that little cap right there. I am probably going to lose that little cap right there. If I do, it is not a big deal. The HDMI system will function perfectly fine without it. But I'm going to try really hard not to. But I'm probably going to. We'll see how that goes. Alright. And we're going to go ahead and flip the board over. right. Alright, make a few adjustments here. Alright, so now we're going to do the same thing that we did on the front to the back. So we're going to put down some flicks. Alright, and so now that we've got that done, we're going to go ahead and move over to the USB ports. So we have the 4 ground legs on these USB ports, as well as the 9 data connection lines. So we're going to do the same thing. Clean my tip. Always clean your tip, folks. Alright, so that's one. I'm going to try and take all of these off in one fell swoop. I don't know how well that's going to work because I've never done these before. So, we'll see how it goes. Alright, so that should do. And now for the fun part. We're going to take each one of these ports off one by one. Let's make some adjustments to the board here. So I've got my hot air gun heating up to 480 degrees at 90% airflow. I'm going to let that get to temperature. It does take a minute. I'm working with cheap tools because I'm a cheapskate. That's what we do. Alright. I'm going to add a little bit more flux on there. Alright, we are up to temperature. Fume extractor on, and here we go. Go ahead and take that off. Alright, while I've got the hot air still on there, I am going to go ahead and use my solder sucker to get rid of the excess solder on here. the rest of that off if need be. Alright, we're going to let that board cool down for a moment because I don't want a whole lot of heat transfer into the board if I can help it. That should do just fine. Alright. Port 1 successful. Let's move to the ones that I've never pulled before. It should be fun. Alright, so I'm going to get rid of these little... whatever the hell these are. Let's get those pulled off. Boop. There we go. Alright. Alright, let's see how this goes, huh? Alright. And we'll do the same thing here while the area is still warm. Grab our solder sucker. Alright. Now I did lose a small filter right there. I saw that as I was hitting the solder sucker. So I don't know how important that is. If I have to replace it, I will. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to replace it. Yeah, I'm sure I'm probably going to have to, but you can see right here, there's a little filter that's missing, and it's right there on this one. But we got all the solder cleared out of those holes. I'm going to finish giving it a quick tidy here. Alright, that should be fine. Well, actually, looks like I bumped this other filter as well. So we're going to go ahead and fix that real quick. Got that back in place. Right, and come in one more time, a little bit of IPA and Q-tip. All right, there we go. That filter's back in place. All right. Now we'll come over here, and we'll try to be a little bit more careful with this filter. I do have a donor board if I need to pull replacement filters. I would just prefer not to do that, but it is what it is. We do what we got to do. go, and just lost the port. Not a huge deal. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is try and come into this very first one and get the solder out without losing the filter. I've lost the filter regardless. Alright, so now we've got all three of those taken care of. I'm going to flip the board over and just do a quick visual inspection. Alright, so I do still have one hole filled with solder right here. So I'm going to go ahead and load up some flux on there. Alright, there we go. Stubborn no more. And we'll come in with some IPA on the cotton swab. Here as well. We're going to clean up some of this spilled over flux. It did spill over to the other side of the board. Going to warm the area with some hot air. You guys couldn't even see what I was doing there, huh? Went over to the HDMI port, cleaning up the additional flux from over here. Go. Alright, so I think we're going to do the USB ports first because those won't require any hot air, just extra solder. And the HDMI port method I use requires hot air. So I think we're going to do the USB ports first. Alright, so we have our replacement USB ports here. Take the first one, just make sure everything fits before we flip the board over. So when we lay it down, everything should go through. it does. Everything sits nicely. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and flip the board over. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to hold it in place with one hand while I solder one of the ground legs just to keep it stable. Add a little bit of flux. Clean the tip of the iron. Add some fresh solder. Okay. Alright, now that's got that in place. And then we'll come in with a little more flux on the ground legs. Get those. Alright, and there we go. Alright, so it does look like that filter's probably going to be necessary. I will pull those off a donor board in just a moment here, and I'll wait until we have both of these connected before we do any of that. You want to clean off the excess flux from this filter and these caps. Right. And here we come with port number 2. No, I've lost my ports. Oh, there we go. Alright, there we go. Let's give it a clean. Alright, those all look pretty solid. And I guess we'll go ahead and put the the two filters back on. I will steal those from a donor board. Let's go ahead and tin those pads up real quick. Right. Thing over here. Alright. Now for the absolutely fun work of making that transition. Alright, so let's go ahead and grab our donor board. Donor board is here. Alright, so that little filter right there, little black piece is what we're looking for. So, find my best pair of tweezers, which I believe are these. Okay, that's locked into place. Let's go ahead and make sure we already got some flux pre-applied to this area. Make our lives easier. Yep, should be good. Alright, now I did melt the Ethernet cable, or the Ethernet port a little bit. If I have to change it, I will. But honestly, it's just the plastic outside, so I don't think I'm going to have to. Let's go ahead and spray down with some IPA to get it clean. Filters are now in place. These are all good things. Yeah, let's just double checking the Ethernet port, but everything seems to be in order. Alright, so both filters are in place now. 1, 2. Let's run some tests, shall we? I don't know if this is going to work or not, but I can follow traces and see if there's actual communication going to things. So let's do some tests. Let's see if this went the way I hoped it did. All right, so putting the multimeter in continuity mode. So we're gonna follow the trace from this point here. So you see that follows this trace and leads up to, appears to be this point here. Yep, there we go. We got connection. Same thing here. Here. Alright, good stuff. Alright, so those USB ports appear to be fine. So as you see here, I did melt a bit of the Ethernet connection, but I didn't see anything else that was damaged, and all the pins appear to be fine, so I'm pretty sure that's good to go. I will test it when it's ready, but in the meantime, not necessary. Alright. So, let's go ahead and flip the board. And get to this USB port. Alright. So we are going to go ahead and wick away the stuff. So actually let me flip the board again. We're going to wick away the solder that's on the pads there. Alright, so those are freshly wicked. And put a little more flux down. Tin up those pads. Honestly, that cap should probably be okay because I'm going to be using hot air to flow everything in place anyway, so that's not a huge deal. Alright, yeah, that's fine. I'm going to dig that out of that hole right there. I'm going to grab my port. Adjust the microscope, come in here. Alright, I'm going to crank the airflow back up. Actually, I should probably put just a tiny bit more flux down. Alright, I'm going to take the heat off just a moment here, because what I'm going to end up doing, which is not something I enjoy doing, but for this one it's going to be necessary because of how I have my hot air set up, is I'm going to have to hit it from this portion up at the top right here. Again, not my favorite way of doing it, but it is what it is. Ooh, it's hot. Hot. Right. Now the port is sitting a bit off kilter. So what I'm trying to do is just come in here. So I think I'm gonna have to let it cool down for a minute before I do. But it's just not sitting flush over there. So I don't know if that actually heated them enough to melt the solder, but I don't want to put any more heat in there. So if I have to, I'll go in and touch them up. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to. Let's just do a little cleanup real quick. See if that was even worth the hassle. Let me turn up some light. Yeah, I mean, a large portion of them definitely stuck, but yeah, all these down here did not. Yeah. Except that last one. That last one's good. Alright, so we're going to come in and touch them up anyway. Let's bring it down some. Right. So I might have some bridges. I'm going to take a look and see how it looks. I think I was able to clean them off, but we'll see how it looks, huh? Alright, kill the brightness. And yeah, looks like I got a couple bridges. Or at least one for sure. Yeah. Alright, let's see if we can sort that out. There we go. All right. Other than that, don't see any bridges. Okay, so all those legs are soldered on good. Let's go ahead and flip the board over and solder in the ground legs. Right, where did my flux go? There's my flux. should be good. And the port doesn't look melted, which is awesome. Alright, and while it's nice and warm, some IPA on there. Give it a good scrub-a-dub. Alright, port looks good, didn't melt anything. And the solder did flow to the other side of the board, so that port is in there good and tight. And we are just about ready to reassemble and test, which is very exciting. Alright, while I'm thinking about it here, let's just drop the brightness. Let's just double check and make sure I don't have any bridges. I always get super confident with these until I don't check. So let's go ahead and check. Alright, no bridges. Good, good. Alright. We are ready for testing. I don't think I'm going to put my, I don't think I'm going to respread the liquid metal yet until I know for sure it works. And I'm going to see if my LED ribbon cable came in, because that would be very helpful. Excuse me. Alright, my ribbon cables were delivered, so we're going to pause this real quick. No. You're not. I'm just going to go grab my cable. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this board put back together. Enough to test anyway. We're not going to fully put it back together. We're just going to make sure that we can test. Moment of truth. This is enough to test. Let's go ahead and see what we get on the screen, huh? So, let's plug the HDMI port in, or HDMI cord in. Grab our power cord, plug that in. All right, so we got blue light. All right, we've got a logo on the screen. That's great news. right, well. So this has got a passcode on it. Don't know if that's something I can get through or not, but we're going to find out. But we have to connect the controller anyway. There we go. So let's see if it wants to connect. Neither one of those wanted to connect. Maybe it's this cord, because none of these are connecting. This USB port's fine. And I think I just turned it on my PS5 in my room. So, hold a moment. Alright, so I've grabbed a different cord, one that I know works on my PS5. Okay, there we go. So it must have been the cord. Alright, so that front USB actually has to be replaced as well because it is super loose. And will need to be replaced. Alright. Never replaced one of those before, but let's check this one in the back here and see if that'll work. There we go. Yep. So we are in Alright, we're going to disconnect. We're going to turn the controller off and just test to make sure that we get an orange light. I know it's already charged. That's why the orange light shut off last time. But we're just going to test the ports and make sure that we're getting everything that we need. I don't want to keep this on too much longer because it doesn't have liquid metal respread. Alright, there we go, orange light. Turns right off because the controller is fully charged. And orange light, perfect. So we fixed it. Let's go ahead and shut this down. And there we have it, guys. We got it completely fixed up. Both USB ports are responding fantastically. The front one is still responding. It is a little bit loose, but it's still responding, so we're not going to fix something that's not broken. And the HDMI port is fully soldered on there, and we have fixed every problem with this. I'm going to take it apart off camera and get the liquid metal respread. I'm going to give it a good healthy cleaning because this thing needs it badly, and she'll be ready for a new home. I'm super excited about getting this done. I love working on these PS5s. I love learning new things, and with the USB ports, that's exactly what we did today, and I love it. It's a great time. I will be live streaming this Sunday at some point. I have not one, not two, but 3 broken Xbox One X's. I've tested them. One of them is a no display, and 2 of them have disk drive issues. So that's going to be interesting. Never worked on a disk drive before either. This week is all about learning new things. I love it. Thank you guys for coming out. I really appreciate you guys showing love on the video. I love doing these videos, and I look forward to doing more of them for you. Come hang out on Sunday. I live stream almost every Sunday from 2 p.m. Eastern Time until whenever I decide to stop streaming. Usually it's about 3 hours long, give or take, kind of. I appreciate you guys coming to check out the video. Genuinely, it means the world to me. Be sure to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about these PS5s, my solder jobs, critical comments, making fun of something. I don't care. I'm here for laughs. I'm here for entertainment, and I'm here to fix stuff. I did all 3 today. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a great 4th of July weekend, and I look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Talk to you later. Peace.